Hey there students, in this video I'm going to be discussing the different techniques for improving your sentences and using sentence structure to the best of your capability. Up until this point we've just been kind of learning the different techniques so that we can get here and apply the different techniques that we've been discussing all in the year, okay? What is the best way? How can we use adverbs and prepositions and the different types of phrases and everything to make the most effective sentences that we can? I believe that's what the purpose of language is, to be able to commute effectively in the best way that we can so that we can get our point across, okay? So it's all kind of been leading to this point. And so in this video, I'm going to discuss all the improvements. Okay, there's three types that we can use, three different types of sentences that we can improve upon. And in each subsequent video, I'll just review it. But mainly, I want you to just be able to get these principles down so that you can understand the problems and then how to easily fix them. So let me get you some notebook paper. You might want to write some of this stuff down because, again, I'm going to review it, and this is the stuff that's going to be on your tests and your finals and everything. All right? Let me review the sentence structures real quick. Hopefully you've kind of got a good idea of the different sentence structures. Simple, compound, complex, and compound complex, which is obviously a combination of those two. Simple sentences are just one independent sentence, okay? It's the simplest type, okay? The dog ran after the ball. I always do my homework, okay? Just one thought, one idea. You have two people or two things. John and Julie like to eat pizza, okay? But it's still one thought. There's two people doing the same thing. Simple sentences. Compound, two independent clauses, two separate ideas, joined by like a coordinating conjunction, right? So the desks are in the room, but the chairs are in another room. Okay, two completely. So we're talking about the desks over here and the chairs over here. Okay, Mom is going to order pizza, but Alice is going to eat at the restaurant. Okay, two separate ideas. They're closely related, but they're still separate ideas. Two independent clauses joined by a coordinated conjunction. Okay, complex sentences, an independent clause and a dependent clause, meaning that the dependent relies completely on the independent clause. This one will have, of course, a subordinating conjunction. It goes on the dependent clause. Subordinating conjunction. I always do my homework because I like to play my video games in the evening. Or if I eat all my supper, if is the subordinate conjunction, if I eat all my supper, Mom said I can have some ice cream. Okay, it is dependent on the independent clause. Okay, they have to work together. And then compound complex is two independent clauses and a dependent clause. So this one will have a coordinating conjunction and a subordinating conjunction. Okay, they both have to be in there. Three separate thoughts. We have subject verb here, and then a subject verb there. Three different sets. Okay, so just kind of a quick review, understanding that, because you have to understand the sentence structures in order to be able to understand the problems. This is the correctness, and here's where the problems come in. Okay, so let's move over here. In your book, it talks about all three of these, not all on one page, but separately. In this video, I'm primarily going to focus on the first one, of course. And 8th grade, if you're in 8th grade, your book doesn't cover stringy, so I probably won't even put that video up for you guys. But it's okay just to at least hear about it. And it's good to know that these are the different types that common mistakes. And lazy writing, okay, is what leads to these things. It's where you're not paying attention and you're not doing your best to communicate, and these can cause real trouble with comprehension and explanation, okay? and boredom, okay? I know some of you like, it's just boring to read, period. Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to move from that. These are very common mistakes that could just be made in the sentence as a whole. I'm not talking about words specifically now, the parts of speech, but I'm talking about the sentence as a whole. How can we fix it to make it the best that we can? So just kind of as a definition, to quickly define these different troublesome sentence types. Choppy sentences, if you're looking in your book, it explains it as too many or just a whole bunch of simple sentences in a paragraph or just written down. It's a string of simple sentences, okay? And we talked about that. That's just a bunch of independent clauses. It is basically when you don't have any conjunctions, okay? So, Mom went to the store. Mom likes going shopping. Mom is going to the store. Mom is going to buy me a toy when she goes. Mom's going to buy me a toy. I added a clause in there. I always do my homework. My homework is very hard. Okay, you see, it's choppy, okay? It's just like boom, 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 boom. You're just throwing a whole bunch of thoughts at somebody. They almost don't seem connected at all. They don't work together. It's choppy, okay? Not a good way to structure a paragraph, especially if you want to keep the person interested and be able to understand what you're talking about, okay? Bunch of simple sentences. A stringy sentence form is where you've got too many compound sentences. Too many compound sentences. Obviously, that means you're using too many conjunctions. Too many ands, or maybe too many so's. Okay, that's the two examples that they give in your book. I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to go to the store and I want to buy something. And then I want to go to the mall and I want to buy something. And then I want to go home and use the stuff that I have. And then, you see, I'm just using the same conjunction over and over in every sentence. I'm going to do this so that I can get a good grade. I'm going to work so I can make money. I'm going to go to school so I can get an education. Now, let me throw this in there real quick. These are not bad things to use. It's not bad to use simple sentences. It's not bad to use compound sentences with these conjunctions. But if it's the only thing you do, if it's the only form that you use in your paragraphs, in your writing, that's where it can become distracting and improper and just not good sentence structure at all, okay? So we're talking about variety here. We'll see once we get into the ways to fix these problems. You're just changing the way that you structure your sentence. You're adding something here, you're changing something here, you're taking away something here. You're trying to add variety. As you can see, choppy sentences is a whole bunch of simple sentences. Stringy sentences is a whole bunch of compound sentences. It's just the same thing over and over again. Very similar to monotonous, okay? Monotonous, just that word, is boring, okay? It's the same thing. Mono means the same, okay? So it's the same tone over and over and over again. And this one is specifically defined as a specific formula. It is the subject-verb formula where, I'll write that down real quick, where you just do subject-verb in every one of your sentences. Now, aren't you supposed to have a subject and verb in every sentence? Of course you are, but you don't have to start each sentence subject-verb. I don't want to confuse you too much with this. We'll talk about this, of course, in a later video, but that's kind of the definition. It's where you start each sentence, subject, verb, next sentence, subject, verb. Obviously, the way to change that is to change the way that you start the sentence. You keep your subject and verb in the sentence, just start it differently. And we'll talk about that closer as we get to it. But these are the three problem sentence types. And today let's focus on choppy. So stay with me just a little bit longer and we'll see if we can fix this problem. I'm not going to go over all of the sentences in your book, obviously, but because there's never really one way to fix a sentence. Sometimes you want to change the way you may want to fix a sentence this way, but the next sentence you want to fix the other way. I'm simply giving you principles and guidelines and just some overall tips about how to fix these sentences. And hopefully, of course, the more you write, the more of a style you'll develop on your own. All right, well, here we go. Choppy sentences, too many simple sentences. Well, very simply, the way you would fix a whole bunch of simple sentences is to make them compound or complex. Those are really the other two sentence types, okay? And that can be done in multitude of ways. If you need to pause the video and write this stuff down, I tried to summarize it. A lot of this stuff is in your book. I've kind of added a little bit, just talked about, again, all of this stuff is the things that we have talked about in the year already. So you might need to pause it and go back and review about what these things are. But hopefully you remember some of it, and I'll show you an example in a second. All right. One way to fix your simple sentences, is to use conjunctions. That is going to make your compound and complex sentences. Of course, you would use coordinating conjunctions like and, but, yet, or, things like that to make compound sentences. Or for complex sentences, you would use the subordinating conjunctions like if, or as if, since, because. Hopefully you still have some kind of little card that we made throughout the year. Just using conjunctions between your sentences to combine them can really add so much variety and logic to your sentences. Again, I'm going to show you an example in a minute after I get done with the steps. Another way is to use many of the types of phrases that we've talked about. Okay, participle phrases, you could even maybe use a gerund phrase, the ing, appositive phrases, if you remember that from like at the beginning of the year. You usually have commas around them. Or you can make compound. Now, I'm not talking about compound sentences as up here, but just using compound between your two subjects or your two verbs. Mom and dad, John and Julie, the cat and the dog, running and walking, sitting and standing. Okay, so you can put a coordinating conjunction between two subjects or between two verbs. Okay, and that will add variety instead of having two separate sentences, two separate, short, simple, choppy sentences. These are just some ideas. Of course, there's many different ways you can incorporate this. So let's look at some example sentences that I have over here. These are not in your book, but I thought of I'm going to try to work with these sentences a little bit. I'll use this one. To change these choppy sentences. I like pizza. I like mushrooms. Mushrooms are grown in Mom's garden. Now, those are perfectly fine sentences. They have subjects and verbs. They're complete thoughts. They tell us something. If you would put it in a paragraph, we'd probably know what you were talking about. Now, these are only 3 sentences. If you had a whole paragraph of stuff like this, again, it would get boring and hard to understand and things like that. So let's see if we can fix these just a little bit. First, I'm going to just work with these 2 sentences for right now, okay? So I can make them compound, okay? I like pizza and I like mushrooms. Such a simple change, and you're like, well, that didn't really make that much of a difference. I'm just trying to show you techniques. Obviously, if you would have bigger, more intelligent sentences, it would make a bigger difference, but try not to get hung up on, oh, that's still just a really lame sentence. I know, but they're very, very, very simple sentences, okay? Just try to get the concept. Okay, I like pizza and I like mushrooms, okay? I could change it and say like this. I like pizza, but I do not like mushrooms. So sometimes you may have to add something a little bit depending on what you're trying to say with your sentences. Okay? Let's see. Let's make them complex, okay? Because, subordinated conjunction, because I like pizza, I like mushrooms. It kind of doesn't make sense, but maybe I could say, because I like pizza, I like mushrooms on it. Okay. Just changing a little bit and showing you that I can make it a complex sentence. How about this? When I order pizza, I like mushrooms on it. Okay, making it complex. It changes it a little bit, still keeping the same idea though, but we're being a little bit more clear about what we're saying. Okay, how about let's just combine these two things. I like pizza. Get rid of this because we don't need that extra subject verb. I like pizza and mushrooms. I have combined this into a subject, verb, and two direct objects here. Two direct objects, if you can remember what that's about. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. I'm going to make it's really a gerund phrase is what it is. Fix this. Okay, kind of get rid of this, change that a little bit. Liking pizza, I like mushrooms on it. Okay, liking pizza means, let me say that, liking pizza means I like mushrooms. Okay, some of you are like, I hate mushrooms, so these don't make any sense to me. I know, but see, I'm showing you that just changing, adding a word, changing some words combines these sentences so that they're not so choppy. Okay, well, let's work with this one down here. I like mushrooms. Mushrooms are grown in Mom's garden. Okay, I wanted to show you this so that I can add really it's a clause. It's an adjective clause. Okay, I like mushrooms, which are grown in Mom's garden. Okay, I've combined these two sentences. I've taken out this extra subject. It's not subordinate conjunction, it's a relative pronoun, but it makes it a complex sentence. So many different techniques. Hopefully this was just a way to show you some different ways. You could obviously come up with multiple other scenarios of how you can make these sentences just combine. You could combine all three, honestly. I like pizza and mushrooms, which are grown in Mom's garden. Well, pizza's not grown in Mom's garden, but the mushrooms can be. Point is, you're adding variety. You're varying the sentence structure. It makes it more interesting. It can make it more concise. Okay, shorten it up so you don't have to read as much. And really, you can learn to draw attention to the things that you want the person to pay attention to that's doing the reading. It's very important. If we were to come back into school and have really time to work, there was some projects that I really wanted to get into to just really apply these things that we've been learning through the year. So I really, it's upsetting that we can't do that, but hopefully you're able to understand that this stuff matters because communication really is the foundation of civilization, I believe. If you can't communicate, then you can't get things done. And I've said that in class before. So in the next videos, I'm going to talk about the other two improvement types. Work in your workbook, ask me questions, and try to fix those sentences to make them more effective. Okay? Let me know if you have questions, and we'll see you soon.